My parents gave my child surgery. Money to my sister. Dad said her business matters. Then my fiancé exposed his net worth. Now they are destitute. Dad spoke with a sense of pride. I didn't cry. I simply glanced at my fiancé. My sister's smile vanished as he got to his feet, took out his phone, and asked, "Should I tell them what I do for a living?" It was one of those restaurants where the silverware was more expensive than my first vehicle. It was a special dinner choice made by my fiancé, Adam. My parents would take us more seriously in a fancy setting, he had told me when I questioned the decision, because it would demonstrate that we were mature, responsible adults who were worth the investment. To argue had been too much for me. In retrospect, I saw that he already knew exactly what would happen this evening. With her hand never leaving mine, my daughter Ella sat next to me. She was 8 years old and knew more than a child should. She had learned about pain, hospitals, and abruptly ending conversations when she entered rooms thanks to the tumor pressing against her spinal cord. 2 weeks prior, she had inquired about her impending death. Lying that everything would be all right, I held her. However, the surgery was $220,000 and our insurance had twice rejected the claim, claiming it was an elective procedure, even though 3 separate medical reviews had confirmed it was necessary. It took my parents 20 minutes to get there. Mom wore the Chanel jacket she had been raving about on Facebook the previous month. Dad was wearing his Rolex as a gift for the anniversary. With that special smile she had honed over 34 years, my sister Harper entered behind them. The person who claimed to have won the game we were playing. As Harper kissed the air close to my cheek, she said, "Sorry we're late." There was terrible traffic coming from the spa. Before bringing out chairs for the women, Adam stood and shook hands with my father. He had insisted on covering the cost of this meal in spite of our predicament. His response to my protest was, "Trust me." Those 2 words had carried me through the previous 4 months. Adam rarely talked about his job and finance at home because it involved complicated international accounts. He had been Ella's father in ways that went beyond biology during our 10-month engagement. The waiter delivered menus. Harper placed the most costly wine order without consulting anyone else. It was the norm. From birth, she had been the perfect child, the one who could do no wrong. She was discovering herself, which is why she left college twice. I was boasting after working 3 jobs to complete my degree. The majority of their money was stolen by the real estate developer she had married who left her for his secretary. Her credit card debt, down payment on a new condo, and legal fees had all been paid for by my parents. They had never once offered to assist me in any way. After we'd given the order, Dad said, his voice full of the authority he enjoyed using in the boardroom. "You stated that this was crucial." I opened my mouth to speak, but my throat shut. My hand was squeezed by Ella. Adam's sister had wanted her to stay at home, but I needed her here. I had to show my parents what was involved. Adam spoke in its place. "Because Ella needs surgery. We're here. There is a deadline. We have a limited amount of time before the tumor causes permanent paralysis, according to the doctors, and it is still growing." Something might have been worried in Mom's face as it flickered. "Oh no, honey. That's awful. But your insurance undoubtedly rejected it." "I did it. It's not medically necessary. They're calling it elective. We've made 2 appeals. Ella has no chance of winning in the long run, but our attorney says we might. Before the neurological damage becomes irreparable, she has 4 weeks. It became real when the number was revealed. Ella's fingers gripped me more tightly. Harper took a sip of wine. "It's really terrible. What do you think your parents will do about it, though?" I had anticipated this query. In the shower, in the car, and in the mirror, I had practiced it. "I'm making a loan request. The procedure will cost $220,000. Anything I'll sign except any conditions. My house is my collateral. I need help right now, but I'll work for the rest of my life if necessary." Dad sliced his steak, the plate scraped against the knife. "A significant sum of money, that is." "I understand. And you know the surgeon for sure. Have you consulted others?" Adam responded. "In 4 states, we have conferred with 8 experts. The greatest choice is Dr. Patterson at Johns Hopkins. He has performed this procedure successfully and with great results for years. All the insurance company wants to do is prevent suffering." Harper added that it was still dangerous. "Surgery is always dangerous after all. Perhaps you should hold off to see if the insurance pays out." Ella made a tiny noise. Not a whimper exactly, but close. Harper's flawlessly applied makeup made me want to hurl my water glass at her. "The tumor won't wait," Adam said in a cold, level voice. The likelihood of irreversible harm increases daily. Mom patted my hand from the other side of the table. The gesture was performed and intended to be observed. We want to help, sweetie. Indeed, we do. However, that type of money is not simple. Each of us has responsibilities, as in what? I had not meant for the words to sound so harsh. Dad clenched his jaw. He was averse to being questioned, such as home maintenance, retirement planning, and your mother's medical costs. Years ago, when I assisted them with filing their taxes, I had viewed their bank statements. Their investments totaled more than $2.5 million. They paid off the house. Botox and dermatologist facials were Mom's medical bills. She made a wellness doctor's call. I'm not requesting a gift, I said. Let me write it down. Interest will be paid by me. Anything you require. Harper relaxed in her seat. Do you know what the issue is? You've always felt such pride. Until you're in dire need, you're too proud to seek assistance. You then assume that everyone will simply stop caring. I was astounded by that statement's audacity. Harper, who had made so many requests for money that I couldn't even remember. Harper, who borrowed $6,000 from me 8 years prior, never brought it up again. Harper, an adult who had returned home 4 times, I muttered. That's unfair, sweetheart. Life is unfair. Harper's grin got bigger. You made your decisions. An infant was born to you. You have chosen a low-paying profession. You halt. Mom's voice broke the tense silence. This is not useful. There was a pause across the table. The airy went on all around us. While my entire world was falling apart in the corner booth, other families were having a great time eating. Dad cleared his throat. Since your call, we have been talking about this. I have discussed it in great detail with your mother. I felt a blaze of hope. Brilliant and painful. He went on. We've decided we can give you some money. Not all of it, but enough to make a difference. To what extent? Adam inquired. $300,000. Hope perished. It wouldn't even cover the anesthesiologist with $30,000. Dad raised his hand as I was about to say this. Nevertheless, the world swung slightly when he stated, we've also decided to help Harper. She's been through a difficult time with the divorce, and she's trying to start over. We want to support both our daughters. Mom smiled. What do you mean help Harper? She did smile. We're providing her with the funds we allocated for your request. Harper wants to open a store. She has always had a lot of creativity, and now is her opportunity to succeed. A storefront. The words were illogical, so I repeated them. You're using the money from my daughter's surgery to finance a boutique. It's not your money, Harper blurted out. They own the funds. With it, they're free to do as they please. My shoulder was touched by Adam's hand. He had a firm, anchoring grip. I said, how much? How much are you giving her? Dad managed to look a little awkward. Harper's business endeavor will receive a $175,000 investment from us. Naturally, it's a loan, but we don't need to pay it back right away. She will reimburse us once the business turns a profit. The figures weren't even attempting to conceal this. The precise amount I had requested had been taken and given to my sister. To maintain deniability and act as though they were assisting us both equally, they were holding on to $30,000. Adam said, just to be clear, in a perfectly composed voice. Instead of funding your granddaughter's medical surgery, you've decided to fund a boutique. Mom said, we don't see it that way. We're supporting our 2 daughters. Harper is deserving of a better life. She has experienced a great deal. What has Ella experienced? I asked the question clearly and sharply. What specifically has happened to my 8-year-old that is less significant than Harper's lifestyle decisions? Harper yelled, don't be so dramatic. She's not actually dying. Ella's hand withdrew from mine. I heard her take a sharp breath, the kind that precedes tears. Adam knelt next to her chair and whispered something I couldn't hear right away by her side. Indeed, I stated, observing my sister, that paralysis is certain to occur within 4 months in the absence of surgery. Indeed, the tumor has the potential to be fatal, so perhaps be more cautious with what you say about my daughter's life. Ladies, please. When Mom wanted everyone to just get along so she wouldn't have to deal with conflict, her voice had that beseeching quality. There's no need for a fight. We are all related. Father gave a nod. We have decided what to do. We consider it balanced and fair. Harper deserves this chance, and we want to help her. You'll find a solution for Ella. You do it every time. The dismissal was obvious. They had already decided before they had even gotten to the restaurant. They were merely using this dinner as a theatrical opportunity to declare their choice and feel generous with the meager $30,000 they were giving away. Dad said she deserves a better life. Pointing to Harper. She deserves this opportunity after everything she has been through. As if he had done something honorable by picking one daughter's business endeavor over the other daughter's child. He spoke with pride as if this were wisdom rather than brutality. I didn't cry. Over the last 4 months, I've shed enough tears. I sobbed in the shower, in my car during lunch breaks, and in hospital parking lots. I sobbed until all I had left was a cold, crystal clear knowledge of my parents' identities. Rather, I pivoted to face Adam. After consoling Ella, he had returned to his seat, and his expression was unreadable. When our gazes locked, I noticed something I had never noticed before. Not sympathy, not even fury. Calculation was involved. He slowly got to his feet and reached into his jacket pocket. His phone appeared spelt and pricey. He looked at my father while holding it loosely, almost carelessly. Should I tell them what I do for a living? Asked him. In the air hung the question. Harper started to lose her smile. Just moments before she was radiant with triumph. Now a hint of doubt appeared on her face. You work in finance, Dad remarked sarcastically. We know that I do, concurred Adam. In particular, I work at Whitmore and Associates as a senior partner, Adam went on, his voice conversational. I manage a portfolio of about $850 million. The number landed like a bomb. I manage a portfolio of about $850 million, not counting bonuses. My annual salary is $1.3 million. Last year, my bonus was $3.8 million. I've been hesitant to discuss this because your daughter values privacy, and I didn't want our relationship to be about money. Harper's smile had vanished entirely, her face pale under her makeup. Adam looked at my parents and said, We have more than enough for Ella's surgery. We haven't needed your money. My assets, savings, and investment accounts are all mine. Adam, I wanted you to ask them, he said, turning to face me. You needed to know who they really are, what they would choose when it mattered. I felt lightheaded. We could pay for this surgery 10 times over without feeling it. His gaze returned to my parents, and now we all know. Dad's face was flushed. Why put us through the charade? Adam explained that it wasn't a charade for me because I sincerely hoped that they would make the right decision when faced with their granddaughter's life. I was mistaken and I apologize, but I needed to know the type of people I was getting married to. The money I have doesn't change the decision you made. You let us think. You manipulated. I noticed. Adam corrected. There's a difference. We came here asking for help and you revealed exactly who you are. He took out his wallet and put a credit card on the table. Dinner's on me. Everything, including Harper's pricey wine. Harper found her voice. You'll have to live with your decision that your daughter's boutique was more valuable than your granddaughter's health. Mom reached for me, saying, Sweetie, if we'd known. I withdrew from her grasp, realizing that Adam had money. That only matters if you were making a financial decision rather than a moral one. Ella needed surgery either way. That didn't change. This isn't fair. Harper raised her voice and said, You set us up. You made us look bad on purpose. Adam laughed sharply. No one made you do anything. You were offered a chance to help a child, your niece, and you chose not to. The fact that it turns out we don't need your money doesn't change the choice you made. Dad objected, saying that's not nothing. You're right standing. It's not nothing. It's insulting. It's the minimum amount you thought you could offer while still claiming you helped. It's a tip, not assistance. I picked up Ella, who put her arms around my neck. She was getting too big to carry comfortably, but I had to hold her. Adam put his hand on my back and led the way out. Wait, Mom called. Please don't leave like this. We can talk about this. There's nothing to talk about, I said without looking back. You made your choice. Harper gets her boutique. I hope it's everything she dreams of. You're being childish, Harper yelled. I stopped and turned around just because you fooled us. The whole restaurant was now watching, but I didn't care. I told them straight out. I asked my parents to help save my daughter's life, and you all decided that financing a retail business was more important. Those are the facts. It's up to you what you do with that information. We went out, the cool evening air hitting my face as we walked to Adam's car. Ella sobbing softly against my shoulder, Adam opening the door and guiding us both inside before settling into the driver's seat. We were silent for a long time, the lights of the restaurant behind us glowing warm and inviting, utterly at odds with what had just transpired inside. I'm sorry, Adam said at the end of the trip. It must have been difficult. What kept you from telling me? I inquired about the money and about your plan. He replied, because you wouldn't have carried it out, claiming it was cruel or manipulative, but I needed you to see them clearly. Ella will soon be my legal daughter, and we are getting married. I needed to know if they would be a good or bad influence in our lives, and he was right. It was too harsh, too calculated, and I would have refused. But sitting in that restaurant and seeing my parents put Harper's wants ahead of Ella's needs has made everything clear. They'll try to make amends. Adam said they'll get in touch after they've processed this and Harper's boutique eventually fails. Ella stirred against me and said, "Mommy, why doesn't Grandma love me?" "She does, baby. She just doesn't know how to show it properly." "That's a lie," Ella said softly. "You don't have to lie anymore." I heard what they said. They'll want access to our life and the money they now know we have. You need to decide what that relationship looks like now. Adam caught my attention in the rearview mirror and said, "Your grandparents made a bad choice tonight, Ella. But you're going to be okay. We're going to take care of you. The surgery is scheduled for next month and you're going to get better." Ella asked, "Will I see them again?" Adam replied, "That's up to your mom and eventually up to you." The drive home that evening felt surreal. After 10 minutes of silence during which neither of us spoke, I finally said, "I keep replaying the look on Dad's face when he said Harper deserves a better life." Ella dozed off in the back seat, worn out from the emotional toll. Adam's hand found mine across the console, his thumb tracing circles on my palm like it was clear, like it was the only logical conclusion. Adam squeezed my hand. He got it. That's why it's so heartbreaking. He really believed that funding a boutique was the same as saving a child's life. "How did you manage to remain so composed?" I asked. I wanted to scream. I wanted to turn the tables. Years of practice concealing my thoughts. When we got home, I carried Ella upstairs and tucked her into bed. She stirred as I pulled the blanket up. "Mom." "Yes, baby. Are we going to be okay?" I smoothed her hair back. "We're going to be more than okay. I promise." He said, "It's a skill you develop in finance, but trust me, I wanted to do much more than flip a table." I asked myself, is that what it takes to keep you safe and loved properly, even without Grandma and Grandpa? She nodded and closed her eyes, and I watched her for a long time. This courageous little girl who had been through so much, the scar on her back from the biopsy. Adam was in his office downstairs with his laptop open, several screens displaying financial charts and documents I couldn't understand. "I'm setting up a trust," he said without looking up Ella's needs, including education, medical bills, and anything else she might need. She had learned to ask me if we could afford things before requesting them, and she was already 8 years old and carrying burdens no child should know. "Adam, and I'm having my lawyer draft a document that explicitly excludes your parents from any medical decisions. If something were to happen to you, they would have no rights. My sister, not them, would be granted guardianship." I sank into the chair across from his desk. "You really think they'd try to interfere?" He looked at me at last. "People who prioritize money over a child's health can justify anything in my opinion. I'm not taking any chances with Ella's future." When I woke up the following morning, I had 17 missed calls. It was obvious that my parents had spent the entire night attempting to get in touch with me. The voicemails ranged from confused to angry to pleading, and I deleted them all without listening past the first few seconds. Work was a welcome diversion. My boss had been very understanding of Ella's medical condition during my 4 years as the marketing director of a small tech company. My coworker, Jacob, was waiting with coffee at my desk when I got there. "How'd it go with your parents?" Jacob's mouth dropped when I told him about the dinner and how desperately I needed help, but I hadn't mentioned Adam's plan or his income. Instead, they decided to fund my sister's boutique. "You're kidding." "I wish I was." "What are you going to do? Can you borrow money?" "Create a GoFundMe." "Actually," I said, sitting down and logging into my computer. Adam had the money all along and he wanted to see what choice they'd make. Jacob was silent for a moment, but I said, "That's either brilliant or cruel. I can't decide which." "Neither can I." My phone rang and I said, "Mom again." Jacob said, "They're not taking the hint." Adding, "They're probably still in shock. Give them a few days to get angry. That's when the real messages will start." I was correct. And by Wednesday, the tone had changed. Dad texted me accusing me of being manipulative and ungrateful. And Mom sent a lengthy email about how I was destroying the family. "You always have to be the victim," Harper wrote in her voicemail, calling me every derogatory term she could think of. "You always have to make everything about you," Harper said. "You threw a fit because you didn't get your way, despite Mom and Dad's best efforts to assist us both. Get over it. You're a child and you are not the center of the world." Adam brought some news home Thursday night, so I decided to save that voicemail in case I needed it later. "Your sister visited my workplace today, helping Ella with her homework." I looked up. "How about this?" "She demanded to see me when she arrived at the front desk. She made a scene before security escorted her out. His tie was untied. She was screaming that she was going to sue me for emotional distress because I had destroyed her life and deceived everyone. Would she be able to do that? Well, she could try. It will cost her money that she does not possess. He filled a glass for himself. The parking garage was where your parents were waiting. I believe they had coordinated it. My abdomen constricted. Did they come over to you? It was your dad asked to speak with him man to man. We had nothing to talk about, I informed him, and I threatened to obtain a restraining order if any of them returned to my place of employment. With her pencil frozen over her math worksheet, Ella was observing us. I feigned a smile. Don't worry, my love. Only mature drama. There's nothing to worry about. Although she didn't seem persuaded, she went back to her assignments. I finally broke down that night after Ella had gone to sleep. Adam discovered me sobbing into a towel to block out the sound while sitting on the floor in the bathroom. They were meant to cherish her. I passed out. She's their granddaughter. How could they put Harper's money ahead of Ella's life? Why would anyone do that? Adam pulled me in close as he sat next to me. The type of people who in the first place had no right to be parents. I'm thinking about my childhood all the time. Dad is showing me how to ride a bike. My mom is creating my Halloween outfits. Did those individuals ever exist? Or was I merely helpful until I wasn't? Perhaps both, said Adam softly. You can be loved by people who are essentially self-centered. The hurt caused by selfishness is not lessened by love. Friday introduced a fresh strategy. Mom's sister, Aunt Elizabeth, gave me a call. We had been close all along. She had taken care of me while my parents were away. The same person who had attended my college graduation, but had not attended Harper's rehabilitation graduation. I was asked to call by your mother, she said. She's heartbroken. Both are. Indeed, they ought to be. I am not calling to take sides, my love. I simply want you to know that they're having difficulty with this. They believe they were reaching a well-rounded conclusion. They offered me $30,000 for Ella's surgery and gave Harper $175,000 for a boutique on Elizabeth. How do you balance that? Sighing, she said, it sounds awful when you put it like that. Because it is bad. It sounds bad. Your mother said that you weren't truly in need and that Adam had money all along. Could we have been truly desperate and it would have been acceptable? I said, would it have been okay if they had picked Harper's boutique even though we had no other options? Naturally not. Then nothing changes with Adam's money. Based on their perception of reality, they made a decision. They made the wrong decision. Aunt Elizabeth kept to herself. You are correct. Sorry. I should not have made the call. Please tell them to stop, but it's all right. Don't call. Put an end to your appearances. Don't send anyone to speak with me. They came to a decision. Mine is mine. It was a calm weekend in contrast. Adam brought us to a zoo. As she enthusiastically read the information plaques and pointed out animals, Ella laughed for the first time in days. Adam let Ella order whatever she wanted. When we were at the cafe for lunch, Ella remarked, "This is nice." On her chin, chocolate ice cream. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. I wiped her face and nodded. I glanced at Adam over Ella's head. The look on his face was a mixture of sadness and resolve. We were creating our own family, excluding those who didn't pass the most basic test of love. My parents' unity began to erode on Monday morning. I answered when Mom called from an unknown number, assuming it was from Ella's school or the hospital. Please don't hang up, she promptly said. Your father and I had a heated argument about the money, Harper and you. I just need 5 minutes. I should have disconnected right then. You have to. Her voice cracked. I've made a lot of mistakes with you. Favoring Harper and turning a blind eye when she mistreated you. He's saying that I'm too soft, that you're being manipulative, and that we should stand firm, but I can't stop thinking about Ella. You should have thought about Ella at dinner. Mom went on. I want to make this right. I know you don't need the money now, but I want to give it to you anyway. For Ella's surgery, for her recovery, whatever you need, I'll take it from the money we gave Harper. I told myself it was because she needed more support because she struggled more. In reality, though, it was easier to give in to her than to stand up for you. I'd be upset, but I don't care anymore. You're my daughter. Ella is my granddaughter, and I should have picked you. It was the closest thing to an apology I'd ever received from her, and I wanted to believe that she had finally realized her mistake. But what does Dad think of this silence? However, another part, the part that had seen her smile as she explained why Harper deserved more, was impossible to forget. Thank you, Mom. I truly do. But it's too late. Please. You didn't just make a financial error. You showed what you stood for. Ella was sitting there when you said Harper deserves a better life. She heard everything you said, and she later asked me why you don't love her. I can't expose her to people who might make her feel less valuable than her cousins or less deserving of love or support. I can't risk her internalizing the same treatment I received. I'm not trying to hurt you, but I'm done protecting your feelings at the expense of my daughter's well-being. You made your choice. This is mine, Mom said over the phone, and I hung up before she could reply. I then saved her new number in my contacts as Mom. That must have been difficult. Adam had been listening from the doorway. Do not answer so I'd recognize it if she called again. I said it was necessary. She wants absolution without consequences. That's not how this works. 2 weeks later, my phone was buzzing with messages. First from Mom, then from Dad, and finally from Harper. The boutique had failed and the property owner had backed out of the lease after realizing Harper's experience was non-existent and her business plan was incomplete. Ella's surgery was set for the following Tuesday. Dr. Patterson had been able to move up her slot after another patient postponed, and the timing was ideal. Harper was demanding that my parents sue him, and they asked if we could help with legal fees. I blocked all of their numbers, including Mom's new one. We would be finished before my family could cause more drama. Dr. Patterson came out 7 hours after Ella's surgery, which took place on a Tuesday morning, for weeks after the disastrous dinner, and informed us that everything went well. The tumor was removed completely, and although she would require physical therapy, a full recovery was anticipated. I cried in Adam's arms in the waiting room, letting go of months of anxiety and stress. Harper arrived at the hospital with us in the surgical recovery wing waiting area, her hair unwashed, her makeup smeared, and a desperate expression. Harper must have called around to find out where we were, likely mutual acquaintances, until someone told her. She got past the front desk by posing as Ella's aunt. Please, she said, I needed to speak with you. My parents refused to answer my phone. They want the boutique money returned. They're threatening to prosecute me. Help is needed. You must go. I need a lawyer. Adam stood between her and me. My sister, I have a right. You have no rights here, Adam said icily. You made it clear where your priorities were. Now face the consequences. Security escorted her out, and I watched her leave, exhausted. Mom and Dad tried next, showing up with stuffed animals and flowers, smiling and cooing over Ella as if the dinner had never taken place. Ella accepted their gifts politely, but refused to talk to them. They left after 15 minutes of awkward small talk. In the parking garage, Dad cornered me while Mom diverted Adam's attention. He said in a low voice, "You know this makes you just as bad as us, cutting us off because we made one mistake using money to manipulate relationships. You're no better." I carefully examined this man who had helped me with my homework, taught me how to ride a bike, and escorted me down the aisle at my first wedding. I said, "There's a difference. I'm not manipulating you with money. I'm protecting my daughter from people who valued a boutique over her life." He recoiled. "I would have given you the money if Ella was fine and Harper was sick. I would have helped without conditions or tests. You failed one. We didn't know Adam was wealthy, which is why it can't be forgiven," I said. "You could have chosen differently if you had known. However, that would have been for the incorrect reasons. Ella is a child who needed assistance, so you should have picked her." He was standing by himself among the cars when I left, saying, "The money should never have mattered." We went home, ordered pizza, and watched movies until Ella fell asleep on the couch with me. My phone buzzed, and I saw a text from an unknown number. 6 months later, Ella walked without assistance for the first time since surgery, and both her physical therapist and I sobbed. Adam recorded the entire event, narrating like a sports announcer, which made Ella laugh. Harper said, "The boutique failed. I'm bankrupt. Mom and Dad are suing me for the money. Please help." I blocked the number and deleted the message without replying. Later that night, Adam discovered me sitting on the back porch staring at the stars, and he gave me tea and sat down next to me. "I'm your sister." I deleted the text without replying. "No regrets?" he asked. I gave it some serious thought. "I regret that they made the decision they did, that Ella heard it. That this is who they are," he said. "But cutting them off, no regrets about that. Harper's legal issues will likely drag on for months. And he predicted that your parents' case would eventually be lost." He paused and said, "How do you know that?" "I have friends in family law. They're talking about it. Your parents will probably lose most of that $175,000. Harper already spent a huge chunk of that on what? Apparently, she went on a shopping spree before the boutique deal fell through. She never signed proper loan documents, and even if she had, she's got no assets to collect against. She thought she was going to be a successful business owner, so she spent money on things like a new car, furniture, and clothes. I sipped my favorite tea chamomile. I should feel something like satisfaction or vindication, but I just feel exhausted, which is normal, Adam remarked. They were your parents. Only the death of the person you believe them to be is necessary to grieve them. Were you aware? Did you know it would end this way when you first met them? I inquired. The way they talked about Harper versus how they talked about you, I suspected. He acknowledged. The way they smiled courteously at you and lit up for her. I noticed the pattern. All I needed was for you to see it, too. Ella called out from inside, half awake and in need of water. So, we went to her and tucked her back in. Her room was filled with drawings she had made during her recuperation, including stick figure families, rainbows, and houses, all of which featured 3 people, her, Adam, and me, and none of them included my parents. A year later, I got a formal, pricey wedding invitation in the mail from Mom and Dad, who were renewing their vows after 40 years of marriage. My name was on the envelope, but there was no personal note, just printed information and an RSVP card, so I threw it away. 2 days later, Mom called from a new number. This time, I recognized the area code and was on the verge of not responding, but my curiosity won out. Did you receive the invitation? She asked in a cautious tone. Yes, will you come? It would mean so much to us. Family should be there. No, I replied plainly. Please. Your father wants to reconcile. So do I. We miss Ella. We miss you. You chose this. You picked Harper's Boutique when you had the opportunity to assist Ella. I said you had the opportunity to come see us, but you decided to put yourself first. That was more than a year ago. You're going to hold on to that forever. Actions have consequences. It was about the choice, not the money, I said. When it counts, you showed who you are. I'm shielding my daughter from those who think she's not as valuable as their other grandchildren, their assets, or their reputation. Harper is in pain. She lives in a studio apartment. Mom whispered. She is employed in retail. She has nothing. Then a sister, I said. You made that decision. Accept it. How about us? Mom's voice broke. Are we not worthy of forgiveness? I said, I don't hate you, but forgiveness isn't the same as a relationship. I simply do not trust you, and I will not expose Ella to untrustworthy individuals. I ended the call and blocked the new number. Later, Adam discovered the invitation in the garbage. Your mother called? Yeah. How are you feeling? Free, I uttered. Is that incorrect? Shouldn't I feel depressed or guilty? His words were, you feel how you feel. They made their decision. Yours was yours. That is the way consequences operate. After returning from school, Ella burst into the kitchen full of tales about her day. She had made the soccer team. Her legs were now strong and fully recovered, and she was thriving. She didn't inquire about grandparents, and Adam and I listened to her rambling about practice, her friends, and the science project she wanted to begin. She was content in the family we created, the one that had arrived when it counted, and she didn't bring up the invitation she was unaware of. I looked at the text when my phone buzzed and saw another unknown number. This is cruel, I said. Your parents are us. I turned off my phone and erased it without replying, saying, we deserve better than this. Ella took hold of my hand. Is it possible for us to bake cookies? Adam said we could try the recipe with peanut butter and chocolate chips. Adam was already removing the mixing bowls behind me when I said, absolutely. Allowing her to lead me to the pantry. Our house was cozy, spacious, and secure. Harper was working a job she thought was beneath her, and she blamed everyone but herself for her predicament. While outside, my parents were organizing their anniversary party, likely making excuses for why one of their daughters refused to come. Together with my daughter, who was able to walk, run, and live fully because we had saved her without them. I was baking cookies. Some people believe that family is everything, that forgiveness is required by blood, that parents should have unlimited opportunities, and that sisters should always stand by one another. Those people haven't seen their parents prioritize money over their children's lives, but I have, and I made the right decision. Yeah,